He's a new you just unlocked a new DC character.
Time Lord? I think the Doctor Who people got that one down. The Whovians.
Oh no.
But you just tied it in. A former Doctor is in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Plays the Thinker. Which was already done by The Flash. But I think Peter Buckle, whatever his name is, he's going to do it better. Swan Facts?
Yeah, did you want to listen to Nolan?
Yeah, but in reverse.
Yeah.
In reverse.
His accent goes away, watch.
So this is a 7-minute segment called Remembering Memento.
I've been interested in non-chronological narrative structures for quite a long time. And once you start thinking about the idea of point of view, I think time shifting, the idea of non-linear structures or non-chronological structures becomes a real freedom. And for me, it kind of found its ultimate expression in Memento, because that was as strong an alignment as I could find between a narrative structure and a point of view. Memento first came around when I was almost finished with Following, my first film. I'd done a fairly comprehensive cut on it, and then I'd moved from London out to Los Angeles, and I went by way of Chicago and met up with my younger brother. And my dad had a car from when they lived in Chicago that he was giving me, so we drove it out to Los Angeles. And on the course of that drive, my brother Jonah, he told me a story he was working on as a short story. It was this story about this guy with this particular condition where he couldn't make new memories. You know, he was exploring different ways of doing it and thinking about it. And the first thing I said to him was, if you could find a way of writing that short story from the first person, sort of subjectively, that would be an incredible thing. If you could put somebody in the head of somebody who couldn't make new memories, who was suffering from this kind of trouble, that would be amazing. When I came to write Memento, I showed it to Emma, my producer and wife. She certainly found it to be extreme in the demands it was going to place on the audience. Certainly on the page it was very apparent. And my response to that, because it was good to be made to think about that, but my response was, I think I've figured out something I can do, that I know how to do, that I think connects with an audience. I think particularly when you're starting out, it's a bigger risk to be middle of the road in a sense, because there are a lot of great filmmakers who can do that and probably do it better than you can. And so I wouldn't want to say that it's like, oh, I had my gimmick or something, because that isn't how it felt to me. It felt much more something I was passionate about. Otherwise, I don't think it would have worked. But you had to have an extreme point of view to break through. I wrote the script from the first shot of the film to the last shot of the film. I never looked at it in chronological order. I never reordered the scenes to check it or whatever. I always tried to view it as an audience member. So I always viewed it in a linear fashion. I spent a lot of time with the script really trying to make it clear to people, and really trying to make the ending clear, and really trying to have the thing sort of snap together at the end in a particular way. What I found was the device, the reverse chronology, the idea of jumping into his head was working. And what it meant was, by the end of the film, you did not know who to trust. But ambiguity in movies is a tough thing, because if it feels like it's put there because you don't have an answer as a filmmaker, I think people don't accept it and they see it as a mistake. I think with Memento, it was very important that I had a blueprint for an objective truth. I remember when we took the film to Venice, the first time we showed it to any audience, and so I'd never spoken about the film to people or anything. In the press conference afterwards, I happily explained how I intended, the ending to be taken. And my brother sort of pulled me aside and said, you can't do that, because your interpretation isn't any more valid than anyone else's. Those are the terms of the storytelling that you've put out there, because it's a subjectively told story, and Leonard can't know with total certainty. And that's sort of what the film is saying about the human condition in a way, is that we are at the mercy of our perceptions. That's kind of the whole point of it. So for you to go out there as the filmmaker and try and express this invalidates other people's interpretations is probably not right. We argued about it a bit, but I think actually he was completely right, and it was an interesting thing that I hadn't really analysed before. So I think that for me the key was always to get people to ask the right questions at the end, to have them understand that the ambiguity is purposeful and is part of the point of the storytelling. And then, as a viewer, then I'm okay with that kind of ambiguity. I've grown up in an era when films are watched more than once. I've always felt a responsibility to create something that isn't just coherent on a second viewing or logical on a second viewing, but that also might give you a slightly different experience. To me, doing it in a narrative sense, and making something that had a number of levels on which we're trying to portray things and different ways to explore the narrative by watching the film again. That seemed one way to achieve what I saw as, and I still do, as a responsibility of the filmmaker who has years to create something that the audience only has 2 hours to receive. It would be absurd to not think of the filmmaker as being ahead of the audience. The filmmaker needs to be ahead of the audience. He needs to be creating something broader and deeper than they can take in on first viewing. When I look back at the leaps I've made in my career and the progression of the films, there's no question that MEMENTO was by far the biggest leap I ever had to take. Because however small it might seem as a commercial proposition compared to these big films, you've gone from making a movie on weekends with your friends and your own money to having name actors who you've seen in huge movies, and then spending millions of dollars of somebody else's money. It's a huge responsibility, and so that's by far the biggest leap from one film to the next that I've had to take in my career, and it was fun. We were able to put together a terrific team of people. Wally Pfister, the director of photography, turned out to be an incredible collaborator and really helped keep the production moving along. We shot very, very fast. We shot in 25 and a half days. And those 5-week shoots are very intense. We had a wonderful production designer, Patty Podesta, great costume designer, Cindy Evans, my editor, Dodie Dawn, in post-production, was able to put the film together very, very quickly. The great set of producers, Emma Thomas, Aaron Ryder from Newmarket, Team Todd. It was just a great team of people able to come together and bring an energy and a spirit to the thing that was needed. Guy Pearce, when you look at his performance, and I'm so thrilled with his performance when I look back at the film, he was able to do that under very tricky production situations. We had to move fast. We didn't get a lot of time to mess around with things. It all required an incredible amount of energy. It was a lot of fun, but it was an intense experience. For people starting out who would be engaging in the same sort of level of filmmaking or looking for the same opportunities, really the thing we learned from it is to stick to your guns, is to have a really strong point of view on what it is you're going to do. Eventually, something good will come of it. Just make sure that you pursue what you see as the truth of that.
And we're back.
Nice.
Wake up, everyone.
What would you rate this movie?
I'd say 9.
Go with a 9 as
Yeah.
well.
Oh yeah, that's a solid A minus. Out of his films, where would you rank it?
Ooh. Might be top 3.
Top 3?
Yeah.
What's the other 2?
I would say for me, Inception would be number 2. Maybe Interstellar number 1.
Dark Knight didn't even make it.
Nope.
Wow.
And I love Dark Knight.
Dark Knight's top 3 for me from him. Memento's not on it. Memento's probably top 5.
Okay, what's your 3 then?
Prestige.
Oh, okay.
Dark Knight,
okay.
Prestige, and then it's a tough one between Interstellar and Inception.
Yeah.
I have to go with Inception.
Inception.
Those are my 3.
What about you?
I'll say 1, Inception, 2, Dark Knight, 3, Memento.
I'm not even sure what order to put mine in.
It's hard with him because he just does, like, this guy hasn't made...
Kirk was doing up there.
He hasn't made a bad film yet. Like, this guy has a solid
Dark Knight
filmography.
Rises.
Huh?
Dark Knight Rises.
You didn't like it?
The acting was like awesome. You killed my father.
Oh, you're just making fun of her.
And then the constant bleeding. Oh yeah, but too bad that autopilot doesn't work. Damn autopilot. Beat me over the fucking head with it, man. The autopilot doesn't work. I get it. That's not going to come back later.
Rises has its...
Rises is good as in it completes the trilogy. It fits with all three of them perfectly.
Yeah.
I'm not shitting on... They're all good movies.
which was my point.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, okay, well then, la-di-da. This
Well,
fucking guy.
I'm just saying, you tried to...
No,
you alluded to Rises being a bad film.
out of those three films, yeah, I say Rise. Out of all his
It's
films,
the weakest.
Rise is probably like
the weakest one.
Okay. Yeah, I could...
Not even beginning. Batman Begins, like that one was really nice too.
Batman Begins is what I think Matt Reeves wants to do.
Yeah.
Begins is great because I feel like they really establish Gotham, and Rises doesn't. It literally is just like, well, here's where we're shooting at.
Yeah.
You recognize all of these things. Like
Here's L.A., London, New York. Yeah, we're not going to try to merge them all together. You just fucking put it in your mind together.
Yeah, right.
And then Batman disappears for 3 months. I don't.
That was
Major
a bind,
loopholes there. And like, how the fuck did you get rid of that nuke? And then like he doesn't like to trick you heard him. He doesn't like to trick the audience because they won't trust you. You fucking did it to us because you showed Bruce in the fucking Batwing, and then he's flying, and then 2 seconds later, kaboom! He can't fucking fly that fast away from a nuke. I'm just saying, he tricked the audience, and he's a hypocrite.
Damn. Cutting deep.
I'm just kidding. As a fellow Christopher, I take credit in what he does. We share credit. Except with Christopher Columbus, we don't talk about him.
Thou shalt not talk about him.
Swan facts. All right, Swan facts, guys.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I thought so. I just heard the intro.
Nolan originally wanted a bigger name for the role of Leonard. Actors such as Charlie Sheen, Brad Pitt, and Thomas Jane were all potentials.
What was the year again for this movie?
2000.
So Sheen, no, fuck him. Pitt would have been coming off of Fight Club in 99. Who was the other one?
Thomas Jane.
Thomas Jane. I would have gone with Thomas Jane out of those group.
Really?
I think that's before he did 61, where he played Mickey Mantle, which really was his big break. But I could see Thomas Jane in this role more so than Brad Pitt.
With the bleached hair, yeah.
For
sure.
Well, I mean, he's got dirty blonde hair.
Yeah.
So, like, he already fits.
But I'm saying because I've... obviously, Guy Pearce bleached it, right?
Oh, yeah.
For this.
So
I'm saying, like, seeing his
If they did
aesthetic, if they did that with Thomas, it would work, right?
Yeah.
Interesting. Charlie Sheen was still considered a good actor then. Oh, Charlie Sheen was a great actor. I mean, he had talent, and then he just went a different route.
Platoon.
Yeah, Platoon. Like he was even great in fucking Ferris Bueller. A small part.
Yeah.
And then he just wanted to go comedy route.
Actually, Wall Street was really... He was really good
Far
too.
About Wall Street. Like, he had that drama in him.
Lucas.
I think he might have wanted to show that he was different than his dad.
He's also in Red Dawn, right?
Yeah, how all the fucking boys back then were. Just like the Outsiders and shit. They were all in the movies together. He wasn't in... Emilio was in Outsiders, but his brother wasn't. Emilio was the only one I liked, though, because he kept his fucking Hispanic name. Good for Emilio. Not Carlos Jimenez. Like, Charlie.
He's coming back for the Mighty Ducks reboot, right?
Yeah, for
so,
the show. He better.
Dude,
This
Disney
is
better
bread and
not...
butter, dude. Right?
They better not mess this up, bro.
They're going to do the Flying V and that's it.
Have you seen what's that punk rock movie from the 80s that Emilio did? I always forget what it's called.
Emilio.
God damn it.
No.
Rock movie from the 80s.
No, you haven't seen it?
It's one of my favorite ones that he's in. And like
Repo Man.
Oh, no, I heard about it. Never seen it.
Yeah, it's rad. So good.
He directed quite a few things though, since he stopped acting.
That's what he's been up to?
Yeah.
Nice.
He directed that movie Bobby about Bobby Kennedy being killed with Shia LaBeouf and Lindsay Lohan. Like, he had a giant cast in that fucking movie.
Is it good?